Hey, I'm Monica. Melanie and I are going to talk about the innervation of the face. So there are two kinds of innervations in the face. One is the sensory innervation and the other is the motor innervation. So the sensory innervation to the face comes from the trigeminal nerve, which is the only cranial nerve that arises directly from the pons. And the trigeminal nerve is also the largest cranial nerve. And it has three branches, which are ophthalmic nerve, maxillary nerve, and mandibular nerve. The face and scalp are the distributions of the ophthalmic nerve, and the area of maxillary nerve covers the cheek and the area lateral to the orbital, and the area of mandibular nerve covers the chin and the temporal region. The ophthalmic nerve is the smallest branch of the trigeminal nerve, and it is in charge of the sensory of upper eyelid, cornea, conjunctiva, frontal sinus, upper sinus mucosa, and forehead. And it was consisted of three little parts, which are the nasociliary nerve, which is more like internal, and the frontal nerve in the middle part. The last one is the cranial nerve, which is the lateral part. They were marked by the green marker on the graph. Ophthalmic nerve it has a corneal reflex, which is an involuntary blink of the eyelids that is stimulated by external object, pain, or thermal condition. So in corneal reflex, the ophthalmic nerve acts as a afferent limb, which is used to detect the stimuli, and the facial nerve is the efferent limb, causing the contraction of the orbicularis oculi muscle. If the patients cannot do the reflex, like the eyelid didn't respond to the stimulation of the external object, it probably indicated a damage in the ophthalmic nerve or a damage in the facial nerve. The second part of the trigeminal nerve is called maxillary nerve. It is the most common branch of the trigeminal nerve that could be affected by trigeminal neuralgia. It passes through the lateral wall of the cavernous sinus before leaving the skull through the foramen redundum. And it is in charge of the lower eyelid, upper cheek, lip, gums, palate, nose, tonsils, hard palate, and upper teeth. The subdivisions of the maxillary nerve are superior alveolar nerve. It has like three parts, and middle meningeal nerve, infraorbital nerve, zygomatic nerve, inferior palpebral nerve, superior labial nerve, pharyngeal nerve, greater and lesser palatine nerves, nasal palatine nerves, and those parts are indicated in the graph. The clinical relevance of the maxillary nerve is the trigeminal neuralgia. Like I said, like the maxillary nerve is like easily being affected by this disorder, which is a disorder characterized by chronic pain over the trigeminal distribution of the face. And it happened due to the pressure on the nerve, which could be resulted from aging or tumor. Like for the aging part, it could be the vein or artery get loose, so it touches the nerve kind of hard and put a pressure on it. Or for the tumor is the tumor itself pressing the nerve, which causes the pain. For the mandibular nerve, it's the second most common branch of the trigeminal nerve, which can be affected by trigeminal neuralgia. And the mandibular nerve is in charge of controlling the tone in general, and temporal auricular scheme, tensor tympani, mylohyoid, lower face, and lower teeth. So for the mandibular nerve, the first part it go up to which is the mylohyoid nerve. It go up to control the mylohyoid and anterior digastric muscles, and the remaining sensory axons enter the mandibular canal, and then go through the canal, which provide the sensory to the mandibular teeth. Then the nerve emerged through the mental foramen as mental nerve, which provides sensory innervation to the lower lip and chin. As for the subdivisions of the mandibular nerve, you can see in the picture there are like two main sections. One is the anterior division and the other is the posterior division. In the anterior division, for the motor innervation, it has the mesenteric nerve, medial pterygoid nerve, tensor valley palatini nerve, lateral pterygoid nerve, deep temporal nerve, which they all control the corresponding muscle. And as for the sensory innervation of the anterior division, the buccal nerve controls the inside of the cheek, which controls the secretion of buccal mucosa. And in the posterior division, the lingual nerve controls the anterior 2/3 of the tongue, but not the taste. It controls the sensory innervation. It's like the sensory innervation. And as for the inferior alveolar nerve, for the motor part, it controls the mylohyoid muscle and the digastric muscle. As for the sensory part, it controls the sensory of the mandibular teeth and the chin and the lower lip. The auriculotemporal nerve controls the scalp, which is a sensory nerve. As for the clinical relevance of the mandibular nerve, there's just like one thing. There's dental anesthesia point in the mandibular part, and which is mainly to numb the inferior alveolar nerve because it controls the sensory of the mandibular teeth.
Bueno, el segundo nervio que vamos a hablar es el nervio facial. Este nervio lleva inervación a los músculos encargados de la expresión facial y también ayuda en la secreción de saliva, lágrimas, mocos y también para el gusto. Este nervio es el par craneal número 7, pero también se le da el nombre del nervio facial y es un nervio mixto. Nervio mixto quiere decir que no es solo sensitivo ni motor, sino que es una mezcla de los dos. Su función es de tipo motora, sensitiva y además parasimpática. Bueno, en específico, el componente motor voluntario del nervio facial inerva la cara, el cuero cabelludo, el músculo del estribo, el vientre posterior del digástrico y el músculo estiloideo. La parte sensitiva inerva para el sentido del gusto 2/3 anteriores de la lengua y el suelo de la boca y el paladar. La parte parasimpática o glandular de este nervio inerva las salivales submandibulares y sublinguales, la glándula lagrimal, glándulas de la nariz y el paladar. El nervio empieza desde el pons del cerebro, lo cual es una área del tallo cerebral, empezando como dos raíces, una motora grande y otra sensorial más pequeña. Las dos raíces pasan por el meato acústico interno del oído, queda la porción petrosa del hueso temporal. De aquí abandona el meato y entra por el canal facial, uniéndose de nuevo para formar el nervio facial. Aquí es donde los nervios faciales se forman en ganglio geniculado. De aquí, el nervio facial abandona el cráneo, luego por el foramen estilomastoideo, donde se forman las siguientes ramas. Sería el nervio auricular posterior, el nervio del músculo digástrico y el nervio del músculo estiloideo. Aquí se puede ver en la siguiente gráfica. De aquí la rama motora central del nervio facial continúa anterior e inferiormente hasta llegar dentro de la glándula parótida, donde se termina de dividir por último en 5 ramas. Las 5 ramas son temporal, cigomática, bucal, marginal de la mandíbula y cervical. La rama del temporal es la rama que inerva el frontalis, óculo orbicularis y corrugador superciliar. La rama cigomática es la rama que inerva el óculo orbicularis. La rama bucal superior es la rama que inerva el bocinador, músculos cigomáticos, orbiculares, labio superior y comisuras. La rama bucal inferior También inerva músculos de la mejilla y el labio inferior. La rama marginal de la mandíbula es la rama que inerva el músculo mentalis y la rama cervical es la rama que inerva el platismo.